Oh, it would help if I turned on the camera. What is telling me you can't access my camera? Oh, that's why. There we go. Fix my lighting. I can't wait till we get this everything up and running in here. Happy Monday, everybody. It is Monday, December the 11th. Oh, man. And we are on day 11. Well, we're going to be doing days 10 and 11, but we are on day 11 of the TryHackMe Advent of Cyber. I am your lovely host or guide through this walkthrough today. I am Davin Jackson, also known as DJax. And like I said, I'm going to be your guide through all of this today. So I hope everybody's having a great start to their week. Just a quick announcement. I know we've been kind of streaming just about every day or every other day. It's going to be a little choppy. The streaming schedule, well, I mean, it's already kind of been choppy, but it's going to be a little bit more choppy this week because it is Georgia Games Week, and I will be down in Atlanta for the Gamer Girls tournament, as well as the Esports Summit, and then finally DreamHack this weekend. So I'm not sure if I'm going to be on too much this week, but wherever I leave off, I'm going to make sure that we catch up everywhere. So give me 1 second. I'm just kind of checking my feed here. All right, cool. So 1 second. I want to show something to you that I think was really cool over the weekend. So we are streaming. For those who don't know, we are streaming live from the Alpha Esports and Technology Center here in Sewanee, Georgia. And shout out to Sewanee Magazine, because in this latest issue, you can see there, I got myself a little article right here. I mean, it's like almost half of a page. So shout out to Sewanee Magazine for the section in the City Buzz. Hoping that generates some more eyes and eventually people interested in seeing what we got going on here. So again, we are going to do days 10 and 11 of the TryHackMe Advent of Cyber. And it looks like yesterday and today's challenge are focused on exploiting SQL injection vulnerabilities, as well as some Active Directory stuff. So let me go ahead and let me mute my phone, because it sounds like there's a lot going on right now. And I'm going to put this here and get that auto focus. All right, so we are streaming on, again, shout out, we are streaming on multiple platforms, including YouTube, Alpha Cybersecurity, as well as Alpha Esports and Technology. We are also streaming on Twitch, on both our channels there, and we are also streaming on Facebook and LinkedIn. So shout out to all of you wherever you're watching. So we're going to go ahead and get started. Let me know how's your Monday going in the chat. Hold on. So let's get this started. And we are going to go ahead and share our screens. All right, so remember, this is the Advent of Cyber. So you can join by going to tryhackme.com/r/Christmas. And there are a whole bunch of cool prizes up for grabs this year. Again, let's just scroll down. You can get a stream deck. You can get a Steam Deck, not a stream deck, a Steam Deck. You can get a Razer Basculus Pro, AirPods, a gaming chair, electric standing desk, HP Pavilion Tower PC, a CompTIA voucher for the entire bundle with the Security Plus exam, the complete bundle. And you can actually click all of these and see what they're worth. So you see here, you have the complete bundle. You get the study guides as well as the practice. So you have those. You have memberships to TryHackMe for 1 year, or 6 months, 3 months, and 1 month. You also get a swag gift card. There's an AWS training access. You get ultra wide curve monitor, and then also some noise canceling headphones, and also you get this Meta Quest 3. So there are a bunch of different prizes up for grabs, and all you have to do is complete the challenge. So to enter the challenge, you just have to register for an account on TryHackMe, join each room, and then go ahead and knock out those challenges to get into the running. So we are now going to go from there, and we are going to check out day 11. We've already started our machine to get a head start, just so we're not waiting on everything to load up. But looks like today's challenge is moderated by none other than Dr. Katie Paxton Fear, also known as Insider PhD. Shout out to her. She's a big content creator in the application security space, especially with APIs. Someone I actually admire and look up to. So shout out to her with today's challenge. So, all right, let me just get this ticker out the way. And again, if anybody has any questions during this, or you want to just follow along, or just chat with me, feel free. Again, that's what this time is allotted for. That's why we do it live as opposed to pre-recording the videos. And I enjoy kicking it with y'all. So 1 second. Hold on. Okay. All right, we're back. Cool. So let's go ahead with the story. Best Festival Company started receiving many reports that their company website, bestfestival.thm, is displaying some concerning information about the state of Christmas this year. After looking into the matter, the Santa Security Operations Center, the SOC, confirmed the company website has been hijacked and ultimately defaced, causing significant reputational damage. To make matters worse, the web development team has been locked out of the web servers as the user credentials have been changed. With no other way to revert the changes, Elf Exploit McRed has been tasked with attempting to hack back into the server to regain access. After conducting some initial research, Elf Forensic McBlue came across a forum post made on the popular Black Hat hacking internet forum, Jingle Hacks. The post made earlier in the month explains that the poster is auctioning off several active vulnerabilities related to Best Festival Company systems. So here you see they're talking about, as a merger of Best Festival approaches, I find myself in possession of knowledge as good as gold. I've decided to auction off these vulnerabilities to the highest bidder. The stakes are high, the potential rewards even higher. If you got the skills and the resources to make the use of this information, you're in for a serious payday. I won't reveal all the details here, but I can confirm that these vulnerabilities are both 0 days and known issues that Best Festival Company hasn't addressed. The treasure includes potential entry points, data access, and even the possibility of exposing classified information. To bid, reply to this thread with your offer. I'll provide a secure channel for the winning bidder to transfer payment. So, a couple things here. One, this totally happens in the real world. There are forum sites on the internet or the dark web where people can trade or sell vulnerability information. And if you're not familiar with what they're saying here, basically they're saying that they know a way to gain access or to hack the Best Festival Company's website. And it's also known as a 0 day. So a 0 day exploit is something that is that has come out, and best way to explain it. Basically, a 0 day exploit is something that comes out when like the operating system or whatever program or application is launched, and there's no fix to it at that moment. So so basically, what they're doing here is saying, hey, they know about this. They know that there's an issue. They know how to access it, and they're going to go ahead and sell it off to the highest bidder. So again, they're saying that this is a 0 day exploit, which is a vulnerability that they know of, but they're or may not even really know of, but no, they have to know of it. But a 0 day exploit is essentially something that they know of, but they just haven't been able to fix it yet, and they're trying to sell that off. So, okay. So the learning objectives here, okay, this forum, actually, let's go back up. The forum post surely explains the havoc that has gone over the past week. Armed with this knowledge, Elf Exploit McRed began testing the company website from outside to find the vulnerable components that led to the server compromise. As a result of McRed's thorough investigation, the team now suspects a possible SQL injection vulnerability. Okay, so the learning objectives in today's task, you will learn to understand and identify SQL injection vulnerabilities, exploit stat queries to turn SQL injection into remote code execution, and help Elf McRed restore the Best Festival website and save the reputation. So before it says we're gonna need the attack box. So we need to go ahead and start the attack box, and we need to start the VM. So we started the VM already. Let's go ahead and just start up our attack box and get that split screen. So that's going to take a second to load up. And then while we're waiting, like I said, they're just going to go into what SQL is. So SQL is a query language, structured query language. It works with databases to gather information. And basically it's like the back end when you're building up your website. So a lot of the information that you have on your website, whether it's your usernames, passwords, and things like that you have, they're usually stored somewhere in the back end database. And then SQL, and then what you're doing when you're making when you're typing in certain commands or accessing certain things on the website, what the website's doing on the back end is accessing these databases to get that information. So here, so again, they're just kind of going into the relational databases, which are data collections. It kind of goes into to query, insert, update, and delete. You see here, we'll leverage the syntax of SQL queries is based in English, consists of structured commands using keywords like select, from, where, and join to express operations in a natural language-like way. And now you see the ornament ID, the elf ID, color, category. So these are basically like an example of database tables. So if you wanted to do something here, you would run a command against a table to retrieve, update, or delete specific data. You would say select select from table ornaments where material is wood. Okay, so then you do all of that, and then it goes into PHP. So PHP is another scripting language, and it plays a crucial role in web development. It enables developers to create dynamic and interactive websites by generating HTML content on the server and delivering it to the client's web browser. PHP's versatility and seamless integration with SQL databases make it a powerful tool for building feature-rich dynamic web applications. PHP is a server-side scripting language, meaning the code is executed on the web server before the final HTML is sent to the user's browser. Unlike client-side technology with HTML or CSS or JavaScript, PHP allows developers to perform various server-side tasks, such as connecting to a wide range of databases, such as MySQL or PostgreSQL, or and Microsoft SQL Server, executing SQL queries, processing form data, and dynamically generating web content. So now you kind of see this diagram here. You have your MySQL database that's obtaining the data, it goes to the PHP file, and then it has that dynamic page, which then goes to the web browser. Okay, the most common way for PHP to connect to a SQL database is using the PHP data objects extension or specific database server drivers like MySQLi for MySQL or SQL Server for Microsoft, or SQL Server for Microsoft SQL Server. I don't know why I can't get that out. The connection is typically established by providing parameters such as the host username, password, and database name. After establishing a database connection, we can execute SQL queries through PHP and dynamically generate HTML content based on the return data to display information such as user profiles, product listings, or blog articles. Returning to our example, if we want PHP script to fetch information regarding any green colored ornaments, we could introduce the following lines. And now you see it has the select table ornaments where color equals green, and then the result SQL Server query connection query. Okay, so now you have, it goes into kind of about like the user input, and then it kind of explains the SQL injection attack. So I know I'm probably moving a little fast here, but that's just, we want to kind of get through the challenge and then also get to today's challenge. So SQL injection, they say taking in user supplied input gives a powerful way to create dynamic content, but failing to secure it input correctly can expose critical vulnerability known as SQL injection. Now, SQL injection has been a popular vulnerability for a very long time. In fact, according to OWASP, the OWASP top 10, SQL injection was the #1 vulnerability for the better part of, I don't know how many years, I think up until 2019, I think. Let me Google that real quick. 2019, not 2049. Got me thinking I'm playing World Haiku. No, that was I think that was 2017, because the 2019 was the OWASP API top 10. Yep. So in 2017, yep, it was still up until 2017. It was injection, and then let's see, I think it was 2021. Why can't I access? Is OWASP down? I think OWASP, or did they move things around? Yeah, it looks like something's going on with OWASP. Okay. Yep. Okay. So does not look like I can access OWASP right now. That's weird. All right. So moving along, it was a #1 vulnerability for a very long time. Up until, okay, how deep? I'm sorry. We have a question. How deep of a dive should we do when it comes to learning enough SQL to find SQL injection bugs? It was Aji. Thank you for your question. You really don't need to do a super deep dive into SQL. Maybe just understanding how SQL queries work and getting a brief overview of it. SQL injection, again, are, once you kind of understand how SQL, like I said, just a overview of how SQL works. There are several different types of SQL injection attacks, and each of those actually have their own materials or course things that you could find online. I think TryHackMe has an extensive room on SQL injection or OWASP attacks. You can also find it on sites like Pen Tester Lab or Portswigger's Web Security Academy. You can find it on several different blog sites. So you don't really have to be like a SQL professional. But like I said, just having a basic understanding. Honestly, what you see here is a great overview of SQL as far as the language and how SQL works and works with like PHP and things like that. Like I said, you don't necessarily need to do like a super deep dive into SQL. Okay, so here it's just kind of going into the different SQL, how SQL injection works. So the SQL injection is a technique that exploits how web applications handle user input, particularly SQL queries. Instead of providing legitimate input, like the ornament color that you saw up there with the whole green, the attacker injects malicious SQL statements. So just to kind of come back to you, Aji, basically, if you understand SQL, you know that there are probably different types of SQL. There are different commands or different things that you could do. And honestly, no one really remembers all of them. You can remember how to fuzz them because it's as simple as just a single tick or a single quotation mark. Or maybe like a SQL command, like and 1 equals 1 or 1 equals 1, and then you might have to space them out, or you might have to put like a dash in between them, or you might have to put a quotation mark in between them. So the fuzzing part you kind of know, but you can kind of memorize. But other than that, I mean, honestly, you don't really have to memorize any of it. You can find different cheat sheets and stuff online. There's a couple GitHub repositories that have like an extensive list of SQL injection commands. So you can take a look at those as well. Same thing goes for other injection type attacks like cross-site scripting and stuff like that. You don't necessarily have to memorize all of the payloads or anything like that. You can essentially use it and kind of run it through a list like Burp Suite's Intruder and other things like that. You could also use tools like SQL Map to also look for SQL injection vulnerabilities. But like I said, there are certain things you can do manually or hands-on to kind of get that initial fuzzing out, and then from there you can figure out specific payloads for exploitation. Okay, SQL injection. Where are we? Okay, so as of 2021, SQL injection is number 3 on the OWASP top 10. So again, it was like number 1 for the longest, and then in 2021 it dropped to number 3. Okay, so and here again, you can see without adequate security measures, an attacker can manipulate color parameter to execute malicious SQL queries. For instance, instead of searching for a benign color, they might input quote or 1 equals 1. Hold on, let me just see here. Sorry, yeah. So like I said, so I'm getting like different messages and stuff like that as we're streaming and stuff like that, because I got all of these channels running. I got comments going, and then I'm also getting messages for potential employment opportunities and stuff like that. So I'm just kind of all over the place. And then again, like I said, I'm making arrangements for later on this week to go check out Georgia Game Week and the Esports Summit and everything in DreamHack. All right, so as queries shown above. Okay, so now this kind of breaks down that query, so that or 1 equals 1. Okay, so it says a caution, crucial to emphasize the potential risk of the payload. While commonly used for illustration, injecting it without caution can lead to unintended havoc on a database. When injecting or 1 equals 1 into a query, the intention is typically to bypass authentication or to return all items in a table by making the condition always true. And that's what you see here when it's the 1 equals 1, 1 equals 1, it will always return as true. So for example, if you're doing an authentication attack with SQL injection, you could say user is Davin, and then password is password or 1 equals 1. So what will happen is it'll look at that and say, okay, password, whatever. But is saying or 1 equals 1, or the other one is and 1 equals 1, and then they look at that and go, oh well, that's true. So since that's a true statement, then the whole thing must be true. So the password must be true, and it doesn't do its checks. It doesn't check for sanitized input or anything like that, and it gives you that access. All right. So now we kind of go into the stack queries, and then we go into how we're going to test for it. So we're going to visit on our web browser. We're just going to bring this up here, and we're going to go ahead and do some SQL injection. So our IP address is 10.10.215.179. And now that should bring up our web page, the worst grumpy company. Welcome to Santa's workshop. So you can see the page has been defaced. Mischievous instead of cheerful, boring, worse instead of best, and grumpy, terrible. All right, Christmas has been canceled this year. We do not apologize for any inconvenience. And then McGreedy, Santa's stupid workshop. Okay, so now it says meet the elves. Looks like it's a little slow. Okay. All right, so now we need to do, let's go look at gift search. And now you see, now it's a gift search and it's a PHP page. So now we can go here. And now what we want to do is we want to see if we can bring up parameters in this URL here. So what we're going to do is we're going to make a couple selections. So we'll do toys, and then we'll say budget. We'll call it $30. And then we'll go ahead and hit search. So now if you see here, the URL up here changes. So it says gift results.php, and now you see there's a parameter for the age, and it says child, and then the interests were toys, and then the budget is 30. So as you can see, these are the things that we put in here. So this is usually a dead giveaway that is talking back to a database. So then what you want to do is you want to test for any type of injection points by typing in a single quotation mark or a tick. So you see here where I have child highlighted, I'm just going to go ahead and just type in one single quotation mark, and then if it's vulnerable to SQL injection, you'll see down here that there's usually an error message. Now, this is how it used to work. A lot of developers and applications have gotten a lot more secure. So you might not see all of this information, but this is typically how SQL injection works. You would type in this single quote or something here that would trigger it and see if you would get any type of error message. So here you can see we have an error message. So database query error, and then it kind of tells you, gives you some information. And then here you see Microsoft ODBC driver 17 for SQL Server. So this might be useful because if there's a vulnerability in ODBC driver 17, that's a point for you can use for exploitation. Going back to what they said earlier about a possible 0-day vulnerability, you don't know if that could be the issue. There's a SQL injection 0-day in this version of SQL Server. Let's see. And then here this says it tells you what the error is, unclosed quotation mark after the character string. So it's telling you what you did wrong. Again, you don't necessarily want that. This is great for developers, but it's bad when it's on the public internet or anything like that, because now someone knows how to, if they needed to craft something differently to make their fuzzing or their exploit successful, they would know how to fix it based on that error message. All right, so now we know that it's vulnerable. And it says, although we don't have access to the source code, we can visualize the underlying PHP script might look like something like this. So the age is doing a get command for the age, which is going back to that database and it's telling that you have a child. The interest, same thing, budget, and then the SQL command would be select name from gifts where age equals age, that variable up here, and interest would be that variable up here. So again, what happened is age, child, interest, toys, and then budget would go back to the database. And now we said the budget is $30. And now it's going to parse that information and give you the results based on that query that you just sent it. Okay, so now we know that the age parameter is vulnerable, so we can go ahead and we can get rid of that. And now we can just continue to mess with it from there. So now we're going to do one equals one, and then we're going to have two dashes at the end, and that's just commenting out the rest of the query. And now if you do that, you'll see it gives us all the information for our gift search results, regardless of the child's age, regardless of the budget, regardless of what they typed in. This is just pretty much dumping everything, right? So you can see it's just a whole list here. And we're just kind of scrolling and scrolling and scrolling. And now these are just, oh, and that looks like a flag, but these are just toys, right? Imagine if this were a list of users or something like that, or a list of potentially sensitive information. So now it kind of goes into stat queries. So now you're going to start doing things like command shell, which is a stored procedure in Microsoft that enables you to run like operating system commands. So things like calling the command line prompt or things like that. So because of the risk, is recommended functionality is usually disabled on production servers by default. So yes, you typically don't want this working, because if someone were to gain access, now they can talk to your operating system, or they can type in commands to your operating system via the SQL query. So okay, it is also possible to manually enable XP command shell and SQL Server through the execute or exec queries. So it requires the database user to be a member of the sysadmin fixed server role that has alter settings server level permission to execute this command. However, we previously mentioned misconfigurations that allow this execution are not too uncommon. So here you see it says you can enable XP command shell on the best festival company by stacking the following commands. So basically we're going to do the exec sp configure, and then we're going to do show advanced option and set that to 1, and we're going to then reconfigure. So basically we're going to take this whole command here. We're just going to go ahead and copy that and paste. And now when we go ahead, you see it didn't return any results. But it should be working now. Because again, all we're doing is we just kind of changed those settings. So now, because we did that, it should allow us to do reverse code, remote code execution. And in order to do that, close this. In order to do that, we are going to generate a payload using MSF Venom, which is a Metasploit framework module that allows you, when you're doing penetration tests, to generate payloads and basically call back to a shell or an executable. So basically we set up that XP command shell so that this way we can set up a reverse shell in this exploit that we're about to create. And now when activated, it'll call back to that reverse shell. So here you see the command is MSF Venom -P Windows 64 reverse reverse shell, or shell underscore reverse, and then the L host is your domain, is your IP address. So we need to go ahead and get our IP address. So it looks like it's 10.10.25.39, but just to be on the safe side, we'll just do ifconfig. And as you can see up here, it is indeed 10.10.125.39. Another thing, if you don't want to do ipconfig, you could just do, oh, come on, IP space A. Again, it's kind of slow. And you'll see it here again, 10.10.125.39. So we'll just go ahead and clear this screen. So what we're gonna do next is we're gonna the next series of things we're gonna do is we're going to set this payload. We're gonna set it as an executable, and then we're gonna go ahead and set up a server. We're going to set up our server on this IP address, so that this way we can see when the Best Festival website gets that information. And then the last thing we're going to do is we're going to set up a listener, so that when the executable is activated or executes, it will get that shell. So we'll go ahead and we'll paste that in here, and then we'll go ahead and be a little patient. All right, so now we're going to back up. And our IP address is 10.10.125.39. And now we're telling it to listen on port 4444, and the file type is going to be an executable, and it's going to write to, output is going to write to a file called reverse.exe. So actually, no, we'll just leave it like that. So we'll go ahead. It's going to take some time. All right. And then we're going to open up, while we're waiting for that to finish, we're going to open up another command prompt. And then remember, this is the listening. This is the server that we said we were going to set up. So we're going to set up a quick HTTP server. We're going to do that using Python. So we're going to run the command python-m http.server, and that server is going to listen on port 8000. So we'll go ahead and, oh, I spelled Python wrong. Always double check your commands, everybody. So Python, and now we are listening on our server. And if we go back here, we do have our reverse.exe. So if we just clear the screen and we just hit ls, you'll see here is right here, reverse.exe. All right, so we're good. We have our Python server listening, and now we need to go back to our web application. And now what we're going to do is we're going to type in this command here. So again, we're going to stack our queries to tell the command shell and to run the command certutil.exe to download our payload. So basically what we're saying is we're going to say, okay, we know this is our web application. We know this is our parameter. This is our vulnerable parameter here. And now we're running the execute XP command shell, and then certutil is a command or PowerShell command that essentially tells you to download a file. So we're saying, hey, we're gonna open up a command shell, and we're going to download a file from our IP address, which would be our 10.10.125.39 port 8000. That's our server that we set up. Reverse.exe. So it's going, so basically we're telling it to take that file that we just created and bring it over here. And now you can save it into your temp folder as reverse.exe. And then we're gonna close it out. So we'll just copy this whole thing. Paste it. And then remember, we need our IP address. We need to change our IP address because our IP address is not your IP address here. All right, and our IP address is 10.10.125.39, and it's on port 8000, reverse.exe. All right, so now if we do this properly, what's going to happen is you'll see that there's going to be a GET request coming from this web application server to our server, and it's saying, hey, we've come to get that reverse.exe file. So we'll go ahead and hit enter. So you don't really see much on that end, but if we go back to our server, there it is. You'll see, hey, 10.10.215.179 had requested to get your reverse exe, and the status 200 means it was successful. So now we know that we have that that's on their end. So now they own that reverse .exe. So now the next thing we're going to do is we can close out that server since we don't need it anymore. It's done its job. And now we're going to set up a netcat listener. So to do that, we're going to type in the command nc for netcat, and then we're going to do a dash and L for listen, V for verbose, N for do not resolve, and then port is P. And we're telling it to listen on 4444 because if you remember, that was what we put in our MS Venom payload. We told it to listen on our IP address on port 4444. So now we'll go ahead and hit that, and now you'll see it is listening, and it's listening on port 444. So now the last thing we need to do is we need to execute that command. Now remember, we just sent in a stack SQL query that told it to run XP command shell, and now that allows you to run operating system commands on the server. So now what we're going to do is we're going to just we're going to copy and paste this over here. But what we're doing again is saying, hey, this is the IP address of the web server. This is the GIF results. This is the parameter that we know is vulnerable. Remember, we're doing execute XP command shell. And now we're saying, run this file, open this file in your temp directory. And then remember, because that's where we put it before. All right, so we're going to go ahead and copy that. And we're going to go back to our stuff, and we're going to paste. And now, if you look over here, if we're successful, we should have a shell, which we do. All right, so essentially, this here is essentially game over, right? I won't say game over. We successfully exploited the machine. So here we can now see what we can do to elevate privileges. We can see what data we can get. We can see if there's any files or anything that we can gain access to. Are there password hashes? Can we gain access to password hashes or password files? But we do have access to the users, to the victims server. So we do have access. Like I said, I'm not going to say game over because there is still more stuff you can do in the post-exploitation phase. But like I said, we're good here. And as you can see, it's just going to continue to spin like it's loading because as long as this shell is open, it's going to do that. All right, so we have, so we pretty much have our information that we need. Let's see if there's any commands that we need to run. Manually navigate to the face website. What is the first web page you come across that contains the gift finding feature? So that was giftresults.php, right? Oh, not gift results. Sorry. Oh, did I break it? Okay, no, we still have our show. All right, cool. It's not gift results. It was gift search. Gift results was the page afterwards. Okay, so analyze a SQL. It was OBC driver 17 for SQL Server. I think that's what it was. Right? It was 17 for SQL Server. Yep. And then it says inject. Oh man, we done jumped ahead and well, now that we exploited it, let's see if we can just come back here, here. Let's see if it'll let us do it from another. Okay. So we found it earlier, but we didn't. We should have answered. We should have been answering the questions from then. So we'll just do toys, and then budget $30. We know that that is vulnerable, so we'll just go ahead and get rid of all of that. We'll do there or 1 equals 1. Close it, and then it was on the very end, right? It was. Scroll back up. Down, 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 down. All right, let me know if y'all are following along. Let me know if y'all are good, if y'all are running into any other issues. But essentially, we're pretty much done. We just need to grab these flags here, and we're gonna do that. I'm assuming we're gonna do that in our post exploitation. So essentially we just kind of did a basic penetration test. If you think about it, we went ahead, we got our information. So we gathered our information, which was that the website and the IP address of the website. So that was our enumeration. We did some reconnaissance, and we found that there was a possible SQL injection vulnerability. We then did our vulnerability scanning and analysis, but instead of doing a scanner, we actually did some manual testing. So that's how we determined our vulnerability. We did our vulnerability analysis, saw that it was vulnerable to SQL injection, used that vulnerability to exploit, and now we gained our access into the victim server, and now we're going to go ahead and get our post exploitation going. So again, we are halfway through, or most of the way through our penetration test. I don't know why it's not. I said it's just, the website is just kind of slow. So and then we still have one more day. We have Active Directory. I'm gonna tell you guys right now, I'm okay with Active Directory. I I don't know Active Directory like the back of my hand. There are some really good people who are really good with Active Directory. Hold on 1 second. Sorry about that, y'all. Let me put my camera back on. Okay. Sorry, I had to take that call. All right, so you see we just finally scrolled down and we got our flag here. So now let's go back to where we were. Let's go back to our shell. So now it says, what flag is in the note file greets or left behind on the system? So I guess the first thing we're going to do is, I don't think it's PWD, but we're in system 32. So we're going to go ahead and hit dir for directory lists. So that's the same thing as ls. And I think we're in system 32. So we need to hop on over to our users folder, right? So let's see, we'll do cd users. Oh, geez, because we're in the Windows. Sorry, so we need a cd and into the C drive and then go to users. Great. Now we're good. So now we'll do dir and we'll see there's an administrator. So we'll do cd into administrator. And then we'll dir. And then we'll cd into desktop. And then dir. And now we see note.txt. So if we type note.txt, I received your Bitcoin. Okay, so hey, hacker01. Okay, so we have our second flag here. And we'll paste that. Now it says, the note says, after you gain access to the server, you can deface the website by running the deface website bat script in the administrator desktop. Feel free to dump the database. If you need to revert changes back to the original site for any reason, just run restore website from that same directory. Also, I shouldn't need to mention, but please delete this. Well, someone didn't listen. So we'll hit CLS to clear our screen. Oh, but we're in a shell. Okay, so we'll hit dir again, and now it says we can just run, not deface, restore underscore website dot bat. So now it's going to go ahead and do that. And if you look, we should be able to refresh our page. Oh, I'm sorry. We should be able to refresh this page. We should be able to refresh our page. Or is it because we're still in, oh, we need to go back. Oh, we need to refresh the home page. All right, so we'll just go back to home, which is here, index.php, and now we have our flag. Okay, so we'll just hit that, and there we go. So just to recap, the server was attacked and defaced. The website was defaced because of a vulnerability, a 0-day vulnerability that made the server vulnerable to a SQL injection attack. We then, Mick Red, which I'm assuming is the red team or the penetration tester of the company, traced the steps, followed the steps, and was able to recreate what the attacker did. Gained a shell from the SQL injection, was able to perform remote code execution to gain a shell. And then once they gained a shell, they were able to move around and access the files to restore the access to the application. So we have completed day 10. So we can go ahead and we'll just shut this down and right? We're done here. We're done here. We can terminate for day 10, and now we'll close, and then we'll open up day 11, and we'll start the machine in day 11. It says we need everything. Now again, Active Directory is fun to do, but again, I'm not the biggest Active Directory. I'm not the Active Directory. What is it? Aficionado. But like I said, we know enough, but we're gonna walk through it. So again, while everything is loading up, we'll just go ahead and Artocraft's technology stack is very specialized. It was primarily focused on cutting-edge climate research rather than prioritizing robust cybersecurity measures. As the integration of the two infrastructure systems progresses, vulnerabilities begin to surface. While an Artocraft's team displays remarkable expertise, their small size means they need to emphasize cybersecurity awareness. Throughout the room, you'll see that some users have too many permissions. We addressed most of these instances in the previous audit, but is everything now sorted out from the perspective of the HR user? So we're going to learn about Active Directory. We're going to have an intro into Windows Hello for Business, which I'm not very familiar with. And then we're going to go how shadow credential attack works, connect to the machine. So we do have the attack box, we do have the VM, and we do have the split screen, and if we wanted to do RDP. So again, just to do a quick overview of Active Directory is a system mainly used by businesses in Windows environments. It's centralized authentication system. The domain controller, or DC, is at the heart of Active Directory, or AD, and typically manages data storage, authentication, and authorization within a domain. You can think of Active Directory as a digital database, so going back to the database thing like SQL, containing objects like users, groups, and computers, each with specific attributes and permissions. Ideally, it applies a principle of least privilege and uses a hierarchical approach to managing roles and giving authenticated users access to all non-sensitive data through the system. So least privilege is basically the principle of least privilege is basically the theory that you only have access to what you have permission to. You should not have you shouldn't have overarching or overreaching permissions. You should, if you need access to a file, if there's a user account that gives you access to that file, then that's what you have. You don't need to have access to that file, this file, and this file if you don't need it. So basically, based on your job functions and your responsibilities, you are supposed to have access to the bare minimum of what you need to do to complete your job. So that is the principle of least privilege. And then the hierarchical thing is essentially, you have your admin level users, you have your power users or high level users, you have your regular users, then you have like your guest accounts or stuff like that. And each of those have a certain level of access to the system. All right, so here you see there's Active Directory setup. So you have this the server, users, or user groups, and then a user groups, users. Okay, and then machine accounts and stuff like that. All right, so think passwords are hard to remember. Say hello to Windows Hello for Business. It's a modern day secure way to replace conventional password-based authentication. Instead of relying on traditional passwords, it utilizes cryptographic keys for verification. Users on Active Directory domain can access the Active Directory using a PIN or biometrics connected to a pair of cryptographic keys, public and private. Those keys help prove the identity of the entity to which they belong. The key credential link is an attribute in the domain controller to store public key. Okay, here's a procedure. All right. Okay. So authentication process. Okay, so this looks very similar to like Kerberos, is it not? Okay. All right. So we have access to that. So now we can. All right. So we're gonna jump. We're just gonna see if we can jump into the enumeration. So we're gonna go ahead and we're gonna open up PowerShell. And now it says we can access. We can do CD users HR and then desktop, so we can CD into the desktop. So now we should do that, and now we can type in this command PowerShell -ep bypass, which is bypassing the PowerShell script execution. Will you not let us do it? There you go. All right, and then we can open up PowerView or load up the PowerView scripts. PowerView is not recognized as the name of the commandlet, but it's right here. Or did I do that? It has to be dot. Okay, I'm sorry. We had to do that space between the two dots. Okay, now it says at this point we can enumerate the privileges by running find interesting domain accounts or resolve GUIDs where objects. Okay, and or we can just launch them all as one. So we'll go ahead and copy and paste, and we'll hit enter. So now it looks like it's going to take a while, and then once we get that information, it should give us some user information. All right, so we have HR, we have user Van Sprinkles or user D AOC, the domain controllers AOC, local, list children, read properties, generic right. So the HR user has generic right permission over the administrator object. Okay. All right. So now we're going to go ahead and use a tool called Whisker, which I've actually never used before. So Whisker is a C# utility created by Elad Shamir. Using Whisker is straightforward. Once we have a vulnerable user, we can run the command from Whisker to simulate the enrollment of a malicious device, updating the key credential link attribute. So we'll go ahead and we'll do whisker.exe, add, and then we're going to tell it, we're going to point to a target, and I think the username was, I'm going to say Van Sprinkles. And okay, so there was no password, no path was provided, no password was provided, but we did gain their certificate. So if you see here, we were given a ticket granting ticket from Kerberos, which is you can consider it the equivalent to your password. So what we can probably do now is run what is known as a pass the hash attack, where we're going to pass the hash over to see if we can gain access as this user. So what happens is when you do things with Kerberos, it's looking for a password, but you can pass the password hash in place of the password to gain that access. So now it says we're going to use a tool called Rubius, which I am familiar with. And it says the core idea behind authentication in the Active Directory is using Kerberos protocols, which provides tokens, a ticket granting ticket for each user. A ticket granting ticket can be seen as a session token that avoids the credential prompt after the user authentication. So remember, this rather than having to input passwords, we can put in this ticket or this token, and that'll satisfy the system's need for a password. So you can continue exploitation by asking for a ticket granting ticket of the vulnerable user using the certificate generated in the previous command. So essentially what we're going to do is telling us you can take this command, this whole command here, this Rubius ask for ticket granting ticket for user Van Sprinkles, and here's their certificate. And then here's the password information, here's the domain, and then get the credentials. So what we're going to do now is we're just going to, I guess, copy and paste it. Yeah, we're going to copy and paste it. All right. Get credentials show, and then we copied it. And now we're going to say, all right, and now we'll just hit enter. So now that's going to run Rubius, and now that's going to take a little bit of time to get us the information. And then when we get that information, we should be able to get the information we need, including the NTLM hash. The network connections, okay. All right, so it looks like the TryHackMe servers are a little finicky right now. So, okay, there we go. Okay, so it did work. All right, cool. I was wondering if it was going to go through since we kept getting those error messages. All right, so now you see here it did run the attack. It did a base 64 ticket. And then here's the information. Here's a ticket, AOC local. Van Sprinkles is the username. Now we have access. Basically, this is the ticket that we're given. All right. So now we have our NTLM hash, which is right here. So we'll go ahead and copy that. And now we're going to run another tool called Evil WinRM, which is another tool I'm familiar with. And we're going to essentially pass the hash. We're going to pass that NTLM hash to gain access to it. So we're going to run Evil WinRM. Don't know why it keeps doing that, but we'll just move this up here. So Evil WinRM -I. I'm thinking we might need to do this in the other one, but I think we need to do this in our attack box. Yeah, we have to do this in our attack box. So go back to our attack box. My fault, y'all. So we'll go to our clipboard and we will paste that hash there, and then we will copy it. Now that we are there, we will close out. Let's open up a terminal. Okay, so now we will run Evil WinRM -I, and then the IP address of the shadow credential machine, which I was not 100% sure of, but we'll get, no problem. We'll get it right here. IP config. I mean, it's probably the same thing, the 10.10.80.116, but I just want to make sure. Whatever. I'm just going to go over here and see. Dash I 10.10.80.116 dash U is administrator, and then the hash dash H, and then we will go ahead and hit paste. And now that should give us, why is it asking us for a password? There we go. I'll say it shouldn't be asking us for a password. Establishing remote endpoint. Exiting with code 1. Why? Let's try this. Is it, like I said, I think it's 10.10.80.116. Evil when RM dash I 10.10.80.116 user administrator dash H, and then our hash. Okay, let's try it again. Oh man. It's weird. Oh. Nope, that's not it. But I think I was following this too literal because the user's name was Van Sprinkles. Oh man. All right, so while we're waiting. No, it's not. Why is it not working? Okay, well, first, what is the hash? We'll just answer some questions first. Okay. All right, now, okay, so the hash is fine. So it's not anything I'm doing wrong on my end. So why is it not working? Equal WinRM dash I 10.10.80.116, right? 10.10.80.116 dash U. The username is Van Sprinkles, right? Sprinkles. Van Sprinkles. Learn how to spell Devin Van Sprinkles, right? Let's go back here. Yeah, Van Sprinkles. You know what? Maybe let's run it again. I don't know. It's weird. Okay, so the Van Sprinkles -H, and then the hash. Thank you. All right. Don't know what happened there before, but now it seems to be working. So now we have access to Van Sprinkles account. Sorry. Okay. So we are there, and we need to get to the administrator desktop. So we will CD into the C drive, and then we will go to users, and we will go into the administrator, and they said it's in the administrator's desktop, so we'll go to desktop. Okay, so how about we back up one, and then we go into desktop, and now we do less feedback website. Okay, so we'll back up. We're not there, and then we'll CD again, back up. Okay, and now we'll hit LS. But I just did this, but okay, sure. Okay, so now we hit LS. CD. Okay, LS. Desktop. Okay, why? I don't know. Understand why was it not working before, but sure. Cat flag.txt, and we have our flag. All right, so we are good. And then it says, Van Sprinkles left some stuff around the domain controller. It's like a secret message waiting to be unraveled. I mean, I guess we could look around. I guess. Back. And then we'll CD into the documents folder. Oh, Jesus, I keep forgetting. It's a different machine. All right, so if we go in here, there's nothing in the documents folder. This is Van Sprinkles left it. So let's CD and then go back into the C drive, users, and then Van Sprinkles. Now we hit LS. I think I broke it. Well, I'm gonna do. I don't know why it's not working, but we just came back. So we'll CD into desktop. Feedback website. Okay, so back up again. Let's see what's on your. Let's see what you have in here. Documents, downloads, favorites, links, music, pictures, save games, and videos. Okay, so we're gonna go ahead and we're gonna do CD into our.
Hello?
Yes.
Oh, I didn't see. I was looking this
Hold on,
way.
you. All right, guys, we're back. Let's see. All right. So it said they left stuff around the domain controller, but I'm not sure if I see anything. It's like secret messages waiting to be unraveled. Um, hmm. I wonder if LSLA will work. I don't think it will. No, it's not going to work. All right. Well, we have finished up with the Advent of Cyber. Technically, we have finished up. So again, I thank y'all for joining and hanging out with me today. Like I said, I'm going to try to make sure I can stream as much as possible this week, but it's going to be a pretty busy week here at the center, as well as just with everything going on with Georgia Games Week. But if you are in the Georgia area and you are going to the Esports Summit, or you're going to DreamHack on this weekend, make sure to stop by and say hi. Like I said, I'll probably be hanging around the U.S. Cyber Games. I'll be hanging out at their booth. Shout out to them. I know they got a CTF and stuff going on, so I'll probably be hanging out with them for a little bit, and then I'll probably be walking around. I don't know if I'm gonna have the family with me, but if you want, feel free to say hi. Uh, Ask me any questions you want about Alpha Cybersecurity or what we're doing with the cybersecurity and tech classes. Also, what we're doing here at Alpha Esports and Technology, because DreamHack is a big gaming and technology conference. So, yeah, feel free to stop by and chat with me. If, like I said, I probably will be on tomorrow, maybe earlier, but we'll see. Like I said, it's just really hectic. I got a lot of things going on. I got to run around and do some stuff around the community, but I'm hoping to kind of get that done so that this way we don't have too much to make up next week. Because like I said, I will be pretty much done after Wednesday. I'll be all over Atlanta. So if you see me, want to stop, say hi, take a picture, whatever. Hey, let's do it. Until then, y'all stay safe, and it's getting cold out there, so stay warm and take it easy. All right. Peace out.